Did you know that your cell phone might be sabotaging your boldest dreams? Today we're going to explore how this everyday tool can become a time thief and what you can do to take back control. Stay until the end to discover a simple technique that will transform the way you use your phone. In this video you'll learn not just to identify the triggers of digital procrastination but also how to disconnect to reconnect with real life. You'll be surprised at how much time we actually spend on the screen and how it affects us. Imagine waking up every day with the intention to achieve something incredible, but instead you find yourself stuck in an endless scrolling loop. This device, which should be a tool, has turned into a time thief, right? It's frustrating to feel time slipping through our fingers while the screen shines brightly, drawing our attention. But what if I told you that the solution isn't to throw your phone away? No, it's not that simple. What we need is awareness. Have you ever reflected on what you're really consuming during those hours? The truth is, we're submerged in a sea of distractions, and while the blame can be placed on your phone, the responsibility is yours. Take a deep breath and pause for a moment. What have you been doing with your time? Every notification is an invitation to get lost just a little more. Next, we'll talk about how to take back control of your life and find the focus you thought you had lost. The video I watched brought to light an alarming statistic. We spend an average of 5 hours and 20 minutes of our day just consuming digital content. It's as if we're drowning in a sea of information, not realizing that we're drifting further away from the reality around us. This digital addiction is undoubtedly a trap that many of us, myself included, easily fall into. What bothers me the most is realizing that while I'm scrolling through the screen, precious moments of real life are passing by. Unmade conversations, missed experiences, and of course, the disconnection from the people who are physically around me. It's very easy to get lost in this virtual world, where everything seems so accessible and instantaneous. But at the same time, it's sad to think that this digital connection can leave us feeling lonelier than ever. And what about the dependency it creates? The urge to check notifications every minute is almost irresistible. The phone becomes an extension of ourselves, and what should be a tool to connect us ends up as an obstacle. We need time away from the screen, but the urge to return is always stronger. It's a vicious cycle that honestly has been troubling me. To be frank, this reflection has made me realize that I'm not the only one facing this battle. Friends and family are also caught in this cycle. We, as a society, need to start discussing and understanding the impacts of this digital addiction. How about instead of spending hours on social media, we gather for a coffee or simply take a walk? These small changes can make a big difference. I'm not saying we need to get rid of our phones, but rather that we should use this technology to our advantage. How about setting limits and seeking moments of disconnection? This can be an important step in reconnecting with our real life, where the true experiences happen. One of the things that has hit me the hardest is the loss of my ability to focus. When I watched the video, I realized that constant exposure to digital content really affects our concentration. It's as if we're living in a permanent state of distraction, where each notification pulls us away from what we're really doing. Reading a book, for instance, has become a challenge. I start a page and before I know it, I'm checking messages or browsing social media. This has a cost and a high one. Procrastination has become an old friend, always ready to distract me when I should be focused on a task. What should be productive time turns into a cycle of, let me just watch one more video. The feeling of productivity disappears, and the work that could flow naturally transforms into a constant struggle against the temptation to look at the screen. Another point that bothers me is that this lack of focus affects not just work but also personal interactions. When I'm talking to someone, my mind often wanders to my phone. It's a behavior that I honestly don't take pride in. I miss precious moments with loved ones, all because of a distraction that could be avoided. And to complicate things further, this difficulty in maintaining focus reflects in other areas of my life. Activities that used to bring me joy, like watching a movie or cooking, have now become fragmented experiences. Every 5 minutes, I feel the urge to check my phone, and I end up losing myself in what could have been a relaxing moment. I believe the solution starts with awareness. We need to ask ourselves, what are we sacrificing in the name of distraction? How about making a conscious effort to turn off notifications or set specific times to use our phones? These small steps can be the beginning of a journey to regain our ability to focus and make better use of the time we have. Sometimes I find myself thinking about how technology has changed the way we interact with the world. In the past, the act of creating something, whether a painting, a song, or even a deep conversation, was an essential part of life. Now, with the amount of digital content we consume daily, I feel that this creativity is being stifled. The passive consumption of information is so easy and seductive that I often forget to actively engage in the experiences around me. Instead of creating, I find myself just watching, clicking, and scrolling through the screen. This lack of active interaction not only affects my creativity but also the quality of my experiences. Have you noticed how common it is to be in a beautiful place and instead of simply enjoying the view, we become more concerned with capturing the perfect image for social media? This makes me reflect. Are we really living these experiences or just recording them to show others? The value of real experiences seems to have been replaced by an excessive concern for digital appearance. Creativity often stems from curiosity and exploration. However, when we're constantly consuming, we lose that curiosity. Ideas no longer emerge from spontaneous conversations or leisurely moments but instead come from algorithms telling us what we should see. This is a trap. Instead of seeking new experiences, we find ourselves stuck in a vicious cycle of content that doesn't challenge us to think or innovate. What worries me is that this inhibition of creativity may spread to other areas of life. If we don't allow ourselves to dream or experiment, how can we expect our lives to be rich and meaningful? Interaction with the real world shapes and inspires us. And when we set aside that connection, we're, in a way, depriving ourselves of personal growth. Ultimately, it's essential to remember that consuming content isn't necessarily negative, but how we do it can be. We need to be more intentional about how we spend our time. Instead of getting lost in a sea of information, it's time to rediscover the joy of creating and interacting meaningfully with the world. Recently, I started paying attention to how much time I spend on my phone each day. The first time I looked at my usage report, I was shocked. It felt like I was dedicating hours of my day to something that, in many cases, didn't bring me joy or real value. This self-assessment made me realize that I often open an app without even thinking about why. It's a reflection of an ingrained habit that needs re-evaluation. This awareness is an important first step toward improving quality of life. By understanding where we're spending our time, we can make smarter choices. For instance, I decided to limit my social media use to a specific time of day. This doesn't mean I'll completely deprive myself, but I want to have greater control over what I consume and for how long. This change has helped me find more time for activities that truly enrich me, like reading a book or spending time with friends. Another interesting aspect of this awareness is realizing how certain apps can make us more anxious or stressed. By monitoring my usage, I noticed that some platforms left me feeling a constant sense of time scarcity or comparison. This clarity had a profound impact on my well-being. Once I identified these triggers, I could step back and redirect my focus toward things that truly matter. Awareness also extends to how we relate to others. Instead of being glued to my screen during a gathering, I've started to value face-to-face conversations more. Physical presence has a power that cannot be replaced by digital messages. This shift in mindset has not only improved my quality of life but has also strengthened my relationships. At its core, conscious phone use is about balance. We don't have to give up technology, but we should use it in ways that benefit us rather than consume us. By taking control of our time, we can create a more meaningful and fulfilling life where real experiences and human connection are prioritized. You know that moment when you pull out your phone to check a notification and end up losing hours scrolling? That happens to everyone, and I'm no exception. The problem is that while we're endlessly consuming content, we're neglecting an essential part of our lives: creation. It's as if we're stuck in an endless loop of information that ultimately brings us nothing truly significant. I've realized that when I spend too much time consuming, my mind gets tired and my creativity simply disappears. On the flip side, I've noticed that when I dedicate time to creating, whether it's writing, drawing, or even cooking, a new energy emerges. It's almost as if ideas start to flow and I feel more alive. Creating connects me with what truly matters and makes me feel part of the world. This leads me to reflect on how I'm spending my time. Am I just consuming to pass the time, or am I genuinely experiencing and creating something new? This reflection is crucial for finding balance. One good practice I've adopted is setting limits. For example, I reserved a specific time of day to engage with social media, and then I dedicate a period to creative activities. This helps me avoid getting lost in a sea of content and prioritizes moments that genuinely make a difference in my life. The idea is that consumption shouldn't be the only thing filling my day, but rather a part of it, while creation takes up more space. Additionally, I sought ways to inspire myself outside the digital environment. I discovered that a walk in the park, reading a good book, or practicing a hobby are excellent ways to nourish my mind more healthily. These experiences not only help me relax but also stimulate my creativity. It's as if by disconnecting from the digital world, I reconnect with the essence of real life, which we often forget amid the hustle and bustle of everyday life. In conclusion, it's important to remember that a healthy balance between consumption and creation not only improves our quality of life but also enriches our interactions. When we actively engage in creating, we develop skills that help us express ourselves better and connect with others more meaningfully. Ultimately, life is made up of experiences, and to make the most of them, we need to find that balance. So everyone, I'm here to wrap up this conversation, which I hope has made you reflect. If you've made it this far, congratulations. That's already a big step. Now, I want you to think, when was the last time you truly paused and observed the world around you? Life is filled with little beauties that we often overlook while glued to our phone screens. How about a challenge? Over the next few days, commit to spending at least 30 minutes without your phone. Use that time to read, take a walk, or even just breathe and observe. What will you discover about yourself during this moment of disconnection? How will you feel when you return to engaging with the real world? Remember, the key isn't to throw your phone away but to use it consciously. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below sharing your experiences and suggestions. And don't forget to check out our other videos that are showing on the screen now to continue exploring this topic and many more. Let's embark on this transformation together. Until next time.